Mayday is a modern fairy tale based in Suffolk. Mayday by Anne Stammers. If God wanted men to fly, he would have given them antlers. Fanana. Chapter 1. The Crash. Nicholas looked out at the clear, star-bright sky, and then at the snow-shrouded hills. Suffolk was a beautiful county, particularly in winter. It had been a successful run. They had made good time across Europe and were ahead of schedule. He followed the A12 to the last village, Lower Sotwell, which was clearly landmarked by the road crossing both the railway and the river at this point. Nicholas set the outboard engines to idle, throttled down the main drive, and steered towards the village green. Then it happened. The main drive stalled. He pulled the choke, the engine spluttered and stopped. He pushed the starter, but spluttering and acrid smoke began pouring out. Then it burst into flames. They started losing height rapidly. Nicholas shouted, "Mayday! Mayday! Mayday!" and the team assumed crash positions. Gavin released himself from his harness and dived away from the main craft. Alistair looked at the ground, but the snow made it impossible to be sure of a level landing ground. He knew it would, even on a quiet night, be dangerous to attempt a landing on the road. Alistair and Duncan pulled outward to slow their descent, each member of the group instinctively carrying out manoeuvres practiced hundreds of times before. Nicholas put out the flames with a fire extinguisher and braced himself for impact. There was a shriek of sonar as the craft scraped over Hill Farm's roof, striking sparks off the undercarriage and dislodging tiles. The craft hit the ground with a thwomp and turned over on impact. There was a flutter of wings as a cloud of bats roosting in nearby trees flew away. Then silence. The team released themselves from their harnesses and mustered in a group several yards from the crash site. The engine burst into flames again briefly, until Nicholas beat them out with a sack. Alistair checked his team. Duncan, here. John, yep. Giles, yes. Sam, right. Cedric, here. Right, anyone hurt? John is, called several voices. I think I've pulled a tendon, reported John, and I've got my leg stuck in a rabbit hole. Alistair inspected the damage in the limited light and then said, "OK, we'll get that seen to as soon as we can. Anyone else?" A chorus of no's. answered him. "Did Gavin get clear?" Alistair asked. "Think so," said John. "He jumped clear before we hit the house." Alistair ambled over to Nicholas and asked, "Should I radio base?" Nicholas thought for a few seconds and then said, "No, I don't think we can cope with this locally. Radio base at the agreed time. There is no need to alarm them unnecessarily." The farm manager, Jenny, was woken by the crash, and she pulled on her clothes, grabbed a torch, and hurried out. The bizarre sight that greeted her stopped her in her tracks. In the middle of a field, a large sleigh lay on its side, with presents and sacks scattered around it. Close to the sleigh, an elderly bearded gentleman, dressed in ermine and red, was checking out half a dozen reindeer. Was this a dream, a hoax, or some extremely elaborate fancy dress outfit? Whatever the explanation, it hardly mattered, as one of the deer was obviously hurt. It was important to keep a cool head and help out, as the others were at the very least badly shaken, and their driver shocked and possibly injured. Jenny walked over to Nicholas, who grasped her hand warmly. "Jenny Reese, how nice to meet you." She wondered briefly how he knew her name, and then said, "I never expected to meet you. What a surprise." She looked around at the crash site. "I'll phone for help, and I'll come back with more torches and equipment. Stay with your animals. I won't be long."